Shake it up, shake it up. Wonderful. Let me pull this up so I can see what's going on.
We're live. Hello.
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 Let me also make sure. We're doing a lot of new things right now, so we're recording. We've got the YouTubes, we've got Anchor going. I just want to make sure the sound can hear. Having trouble loading the slide.
Let us know if you can hear us.
It says there's trouble. It says that I'm on.
Okay.
Just want to make sure we can answer questions.
If you can.
Are you able to hear us? That's kind of
if
what
you're
we need
able
to know.
to hear us, please let us know in the comments.
Which I'm also thinking because I have Anchor going, that might be why. Recording. Start here.
Can you see that, Anna?
Yeah, there's a friend that just waved.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, friends. Can you hear us? Dodie Jones.
Dodie!
Yes. Super.
Yes. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic. Hooray!
Hoorays. Hurrahs. How are we doing? Overwhelmed? No, I'm kidding.
Friday.
It is Friday. Super.
It's Friday.
Yeah. Oh,
Ooh.
it's Friday.
Ooh.
So yeah, we're doing things a little bit different. We are here in a New Day studio here in Memphis. This is our new hub for Akashic. I feel so tall right now. I'm like in a really tall chair. I feel like I'm dominant on you guys, so that's okay.
I like it.
Anyways, hi. For those of you who don't know,
PG-13.
right? Yeah. And for the podcast and for everything. So the mid-month live check is the brainchild of myself and Akashic Bec. It is a podcast where we talk about the energetics, the numerology, the astrology, the correspondences of the month so far and moving forward for the month ahead, kind of to give you some insight on what the hell's been going on and how to move through the rest of the month more fluidly. Hi, Katie. So,
I'm over here.
Hello. Can you see us? And for those on the podcast who don't know, we are also streaming on YouTube and on Instagram right now, so we have people who can see us at the moment. So there will be a lot of that going on.
Yes.
My name is Ashli, aka Lunar Crystalline. I am a creatrix, a practicing witch, a certified herbalist, an energy healer who deals with a lot of ancestral and spirit guide magic, herbal magic. What else do I do? I always am like, Becca, what do I do? I do energy massage. I do a range of everything, honestly. I like to bridge the gap between spiritual and medicinal, bringing magic into all of the medicines that I create. For those around me, being of service is one of my passions. Becca?
Hello. I'm Akashic Bec way over here, and I'm an Akashic Records reader, numerologist, and an SCHH practitioner.
And what is SCHH?
Soul Center Healing Hypnosis.
Beautiful.
It is a type of hypnotherapy that incorporates entity release, past life regression, and higher self communication.
Mm. Yes. Are we frozen because we're frozen online?
No. We're
be
great.
Oh,
and
Mercury.
today is a very special day, not only because we're in this fabulous New Day studio, but we have an amazing guest with us, Miss Anna Cardona, the Memphis Sound Healer.
Yay!
Yay.
We're so happy to be here. Yes, we're excited for you to be here too. So yeah, we brought Anna on to kind of talk about frequency. Oh, thanks, Katie. So something that came up in the records, right, this month was pertaining to frequencies,
Yes.
which is what prompted us to have you come on.
Yes, it said that this month is all about frequency, like paying attention to our personal frequency and how frequency around us from other people, how we feel in situations is, we're definitely, feeling things on a surface level right now.
Yes.
Our feelings, our nervous system is at the surface.
And I think we talked about this in another live about how the energy very much feels like a frayed wire right now.
It does.
Like this frayed electric current, whereas like everything's kind of moving a little bit slowly with all the retrogrades going on. There still is very much this internal chaos that's happening right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so how do you want to kick it off by just going into some questions for Anna, and then we'll
would.
kind of just enter more of a conversational thing?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
But first, Anna, please tell us
Yes.
a little bit about yourself.
Please do.
Sure. So I'm the Memphis Sound Healer is my brand, and I'm an intuitive healer using both meditation and sound healing modalities. Some of my gifts include remote viewing and some spirit guide channeling, and I'm also a mother, sister, wife, lover of the universe.
Yes, she is.
Love it.
Yes.
And we're so happy to show Anna
Yes.
off.
I know we both have experienced, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we've experienced your sound healing and just how
Yes.
profound that it is. I know definitely once a lot of my gifts started going into high gear when we all participated in a retreat in Sedona at the beginning. Was it this year?
It was
this year.
I'm like, what
It
is
was
time
this
right
year. Now,
Yeah.
Anna and I went on the retreat last year,
Very
but
cool.
then this year, Ashli
Yes,
joined us.
I
Yes.
did. Yes. So, yeah, but I know I had a pretty profound experience with Anna, so I can't wait to get into that. I'm gonna continue with the line of questioning. We're trying to be like all professional and shit. So.
You know,
I'm the one that keeps us straight. Just kidding.
She definitely holds like this organized
Anna's
energy that we're like,
"Y'all
we
are
need to be on our best
professional."
behavior. We're gonna be cutting up in a minute, as you guys know.
We
Per
always
usual.
do.
All right, continue with your line of questioning.
Walter Cronkite. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
If you were worried, it's gonna be fine.
And it's like, what have I signed up for?
No, I love it. It was so in sync.
We know what we know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay. Intuitives. Three
Mhm.
intuitives
Three
walk into a new day
I
studio.
know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we already asked you to tell us about yourself. So the next question is, how did you get into sound healing?
So back in 2009 or 2010, I was hanging with my good friend J.D. Westmoreland, who's a musician, and we were talking about different esoteric topics, and he said, "Did you know that the pyramids were built with sound?" And I said, "I don't believe you." And he said, "Well, I don't really care. Look it up for yourself."
Uh-huh.
And so that was like 10 or 12 years ago. And ever since I have been looking it up for myself and researching what sound can do. And a lot more of my understanding came when I started researching Nikola Tesla and the fact that, when you read that comment, if you want to know the secrets to the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That really solidified my curiosity because I'm into secrets. # Scorpio.
Scorpio, I was gonna say.
And then I started reading a lot on Edgar Cayce, and to quote him, "Sound is the future of medicine."
Yes.
And I took that seriously.
Yes.
So then I came across Nassim Haramein, who is a quantum physics, quantum mechanics researcher, professor, pioneer. And then I started understanding what happens at molecular levels and beyond that, like quantum levels, and what sound can do. Sound can levitate. Sound, travels through water. There's sound. Sound can be used as a weapon. There's currently sonic scalpels. I mean, there's unlimited uses for sound. So then, once I started getting into Matthias DeStefano's information about how sound was used in the past throughout ancient cultures, I mean, it was just like everything came together. It all made sense, and I understood what I had to do going forward. And going on the retreat with you guys, really, the first retreat we went on, Seeds and Shadows, 2021
Yes,
in
2021.
Sedona. I had been feeling this priestess call for a couple of years, but didn't understand why or what format that would take.
Mhm.
So that really kind of, if I was standing off the edge, my higher self kicked me off the ledge in Sedona and said, do it.
Yeah.
And so I did. And it was, like when you're starting off with something, it was awkward and uncomfortable and unsure of oneself. But with each session, I learn something new. I'm unlocking gifts as I go through these sessions. Just the other day, something really powerful came through that I didn't know I could do. So it's a work in progress.
Invitation to share too. What came through?
So I was working on a sound healing session, and I always call in divine guidance. I have, throughout my experience, been working with archangels.
Mm-hmm.
They just seem to come to me. I don't often know their names or know anything about them, but I will feel their presence. I will get a little bit of information. I might get their name, and then I'll go Google, like, who is Ramael, right? But in this session, I was working and I felt a dark angelic spirit on my left, and it said, "I'm here to help." And I said, "Who are you?" Not knowing who I was talking to. Afterwards, I feel kind of guilty, like talking to archangels, like, "What do you want?" But
I think it takes a lot to offend them.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, "Who are you?" And the answer came back, and I said, "Okay, S. I'm not gonna just keep bugging you about your name. Okay, S. What do you want?" It said, I'm here to help her. I'm hers. She belongs to me. Here to help." And so there was this moment of inner struggle while I'm holding the vibration, staying in my heart space, talking to a dark angel, and trying to decide, do I let this angel help me or not? But it said it was hers, and who am I to judge dark or light, trying to step out of duality? So I said, okay, go ahead. Here's the sound which is going down in here. You incorporate yourself into that, and that's how you channel in. And he did. And so we finished the session. It was beautiful. She felt great afterwards. And I was leaving, and I was like driving home, going. It really bugged me that I couldn't latch on to the name at first, and so I was praying, God, tell me the name, and just without thinking, the word came out of my mouth, Samael, very like Samael, like that, very authoritative. And so I pulled the car over. I'm Googling, oh my gosh, Samael. Yeah, you guys should really look him up. There's a lot there. But that was the first time that I was introduced to someone else's archangel. I've been introduced to a couple of my own, but it was for me unlocking a new facet of the gift.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Anna. That's so powerful. And so, after the session, did she say if she felt a shift in energy when that angel stepped forward? Just out of curiosity.
I think she has different sensitivities than I do, so I don't think she was aware of that.
Okay.
I let her know that after the session.
Okay.
And I've yet to check in with her to see if she's, she said she wanted to connect, so I'm sure that she's, doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, wonderful. Such an incredible
Yes,
story.
it
Thank you
is.
for sharing that. So, okay, so the next
Jody thinks it's
question
amazing.
is, could you kind of give a brief description of what sound healing is for people who may not be familiar with
Yeah, Becca sent me the questions
it?
before we had this session, and this was the hardest question for me to answer. It actually gave me anxiety because
Oh no.
it's like asking someone to them, what is feminism? There's a million
So loaded.
different facets of feminism, and so to define what is sound healing, it was really hard for me, but I decided to do it like this. So on the macrocosm scale, sound healing is what the universe is doing to itself. I'm almost wondering, is God a child singing to itself?
Oh my gosh. What?
That's
Oh my god, I love that so much.
Everything vibrates.
Yes.
You've seen the videos online where people plug in, sound equipment to mushrooms and you hear them
Yes.
singing.
Yes,
Everything has vibration.
it does.
Absolutely.
Everything is singing. Everything is singing to itself. So on a macrocosm level, that's what I think sound healing is.
Okay.
On a microcosm scale, I think sound healing is causing the atoms of a structure to vibrate at its own homeostasis.
Mm.
And to me, sound healing is a language that I use to commune with the spirit.
And you do it so well.
Yes, you do.
Excellent answers. Take notes, people.
It's a lot. Then we can
It
go
is a
into
lot.
like sound healing is cicadas.
Yes,
Right.
that big 100%
Posted the other
is.
day.
Yeah.
Why do I feel so good around cicadas? Well, the
Mhm.
hertz frequency range of cicadas is somewhere between 13 hertz and I think it was 55 hertz. And, our beta brain waves are almost, I think, 13 hertz to 40 hertz or something like that. I mean,
They overlap.
Yeah.
yes, so a lot of the sounds of nature are in sync with our natural brain waves,
Yes.
our own
Absolutely.
frequencies.
Absolutely.
So nature is sound healing.
Yes, it is.
And that's why I so often, whenever I'm doing a reading, guides will say, you need to get back into nature
Absolutely.
for that very reason, to help, stabilize your nervous system, get, like you said, get in tune with those frequencies. No pun intended.
No, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Yes.
It's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. Now I'm going to think about that all day.
Yeah.
Like, the universe is singing to itself.
It's such a beautiful
Singing.
It's singing you and me, Becca.
Yeah. I was going to say Stairway to Heaven, but What? Leave me alone,
I love
Ashley.
you so much. All right.
No. Okay, next question. Next question is, what kind of things can you treat with sound healing?
So with the physical, I have healed insomnia, neck and back pain, muscle pain. Currently, I'm working with a cancer patient to help her rid her body of the cancer. On a spiritual level, it's like a deep cleansing bath for your spirit and your soul body. And then it can also treat depression. It can cure anxiety, and it's like a spiritual cleansing. So it's good for both body, mind, and spirit.
Yes. Love it. I love that so much.
Yes.
And I can definitely attest to that.
Yes.
It was funny. The first sound healing session I had with Anna, I was having some pretty bad lower back pain. It had plagued me for a while. And Anna did, she really focused in on my lower back area, and I felt like afterwards, I felt like I went to the chiropractor and had an adjustment. That it was that profound and noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
I think more so for me on a spiritual level, like when we were in Sedona and you did mine, I was going through a lot of inner child trauma healing through there. And I remember there was one point where it was like actually felt like there was this crackling going on in my sacral center and stuff that was moving all of this energy. And I think even Megan, who is Firecracker Creations, was in the room.
Yeah.
And when we were done the healing, she goes, I don't know what the hell you guys were doing, but my stomach was like all crackly and crinkly. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so, I mean, and I've gotten a couple sessions from you. So on a physical and a spiritual level, it's just so attuning and healing and it's aligning.
Yeah, it's spirit body homeostasis. Mm-hmm. Like our spirit and our bodies are naturally good and light and dark, mm-hmm. and all of the things. It's just what the world puts on us, or what as empaths we accidentally absorb. And this is just like windshield wipers.
Yeah,
helps you see clearly and align. And
we need to speak up a little bit. Thank you. We appreciate that. We're going to need that throughout the thing. So we have volunteered you as Tribune to let us know. How is the volume here? Is the volume good at this level? I also don't want to be like, hello, can you hear us?
Hey,
hey,
lady.
Say it with your chest. Oh, okay.
Love it.
Yeah. Perfect.
So,
what else you got?
Yeah, okay. Next question is, how often do you recommend people get a healing session?
I think it's up to the individual. I have never had more than 3 sessions with a person to treat a problem. I cured one patient's insomnia with 3 treatments. There was another patient that came to me. He was having spiritual misalignment. We did 3 sessions. I check in on him, but he's good. So if you're coming with a problem, I don't think we'll need to do it more than 3 times. But if it's just like it's just like getting a massage,
right,
for your insides and your energetic body. So, some people love to treat themselves with a massage once a month. So I don't believe that there is such a thing as too much sound healing. But at the same time, if you're coming to treat something, I think we can get it done in 3 sessions. But if you want it to be a part of your self-care regimen, that's also a really great idea too.
You're right. Yeah, so it's kind of like maybe client-led in a way, like them just kind of tuning into their bodies and seeing what it is that they're needing, and you just
because
accommodate them that way.
Yeah, they know what's good for them. They know what's best for them. Yeah.
I like that.
Their inner knowing will know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's wonderful. And I feel like that too, just on that note, it is important for us to listen to ourselves, tune into our bodies, because from birth, pretty much, we're told we can't trust, ourselves, and we have to rely on everybody else to tell us what's wrong with us or how to cure it. And so we're never really, or a lot of times we're not given the opportunity to explore these things. So I really like that approach, just like allowing the client to decide, what's best for them.
Yeah, and there's this attunement that's happening collectively where we are needing to advocate for ourselves and to work through those things and to tune into our body and be our own healers in a sense in collaboration with others.
Right.
Beware of anybody who asks you, can I do a reading for you?
Yeah. Right.
So I always am like, I do my own readings. Thank you. Love you. I know what's best for me. Yeah, self-led spirituality is so important.
Or
Period.
Period.
And that's on that.
Pin drop.
Mic drop.
Pin drop. I love
Drop
it. And there are so many, like, spammer accounts going around the
Yes.
spiritual community, I've noticed, and people posted, "This isn't me. I'm never going to ask you for
That's
a
when
session."
you know you've made it, when you got a scammer account.
That's true.
That's when you know you've hit the
That's true.
pinnacle, when you got people.
Like, nobody ever spams my
Right?
account.
Like, dang, that's right. That level.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
I
I
guess
guess
it is.
so.
Show is.
That is fascinating. Okay, so the next question is, how has sound healing changed your life?
Well, it's brought me deeper into my gifts. It's brought me into community with people who are also developing their gifts. It's made my I think I get a mini tuning session every time I do something for somebody else as well, so it keeps me in alignment and health. It gives me purpose, which is what I'm pretty sure everybody's looking for.
Absolutely.
Especially anybody who's listening to us.
I know.
So,
Yes.
yeah, it's like I found, one of my purposes to be a mother, to be y'all's friend, to, I mean, it's true. I'm
It
here.
is true.
I'm
Yeah.
literally here for y'all.
Yeah.
But being a healer is my purpose, and I
Yes.
finally stepped into that purpose.
Yes.
Into the I am. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, I started accepting who I am.
I love that. Can we all just do that?
So
Can we all just
good.
accept ourselves?
And we are self-accept. I mean, yeah, the energy, even everything you're saying, it's just so interesting, and I can't wait to hear like your breakdown of the numerology. It's right in line with like what we're moving into. Yeah, what we've been doing, like what this whole year has really been about. Preach. Shout it. So, I'm hoping I'm gonna speak loud enough. All right, I'm all like, go.
Okay,
Hello.
and then the last question for today, lucky number 7, is how can folks find you? How can they book a session with you?
You can find me on Facebook under the, it's a closed group. It's called the Memphis Sound Healer. And if you find me, and I'll add you, and I'm also on Instagram, the Memphis Sound Healer. And you can also email me, AnnaE702@gmail.com.
Beautiful. And we'll make sure to put all of Anna's handles in the comments so that way you can easily find her on all of the places. Yeah, wonderful. Are you ready to get in some combo with us? Because we are going to definitely be tapping into you as we're having this conversation just to get your hot take on... Oh.
Yes.
It's getting
Hot
on
take.
Just take. Okay,
I thought
we
you
can't
wanted
say
a hot take.
All right. It is a little
Well,
warm in our room today.
It is. That's all right. We're flowing with
It is what it is. Mercury retrograde. So
many things. All the retrogrades.
Oh my goodness.
Which are a beautiful thing, and we'll talk about that. They're not all bad.
Can we ask you also? This is like a bonus question.
Ooh,
bonus round.
Tell everybody your sun, moon, and rising.
I don't know.
We know you're a Scorpio sun. We know this.
Yes,
Scorpio
we know you're
sun and
definitely-
Gemini moon,
Oh.
and isn't it a Taurus
I have your
rising?
chart. You need me to
Yeah.
look your chart. The real friends
And I
have
do
their
know
friends'
this.
charts.
I will tell y'all
That's true.
this. I know Anna's numerology. She is a 24/6 life path.
Yes, she
And it is a 24/6 universal year.
So she's right in line. Yes,
Okay.
so your ascendant is in Gemini.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you mean go into your entire chart for the grid?
Yeah. I mean,
We're going to get
We won't do
personal.
We ain't gonna throw you on blast like that. All right. So All right, now is where we laugh a lot. Do you feel better? You did a great job. I'm
Oh,
so glad that you came
wonderful.
on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good.
this
Yay
is
for
exciting.
guests.
Yeah.
Thank you for
popped
having
our
me.
guest cherry, so we do appreciate that. Oh, yeah.
Oh my.
You're making me blush.
I know. I
No,
like
but
that.
thank
All
you
right.
for having me. I
Yes,
really appreciate it.
absolutely. Thank you for
Thank
being
you, Anna.
here.
Right.
All right, how you gonna
It's
do this,
time.
Mamacita?
Hit me with some astrology.
Hit you with the astrology.
Oh, look out.
So, like we were saying, the energetics. There've been a lot of these pings, right? Like this
Mhm.
electric undercurrent that's been going on, and it's really been giving this heightened need for rest, like inviting in
Ugh.
stillness, grounding. I've actually got some galbanum right here. If you guys want some grounding energy, thanks, Cameron.
And has anyone been having trouble sleeping lately?
Yes. Oh my goddess, yes. Well, and there's just been so much energy going on. And like we were saying, we have a lot of planets in retrograde right now. Also, Chiron is retrograde. Chiron is in Aries. Definitely want to mention that because there's been a lot of wounds coming up, right? And, oftentimes with these retrogrades, people are like, oh no, retrogrades. But really, it's like a chance to like recalibrate, reevaluate, re-envision, reflect. And so it's a beautiful time. Can you, great guest, ladies? Yes, she is a great guest. So, we know. So yeah, noting again like this Chiron retrograde that's been happening, which has been happening actually since July, and that's where kind of like this energy has started picking up and stuff, and it's going to be leading into December. So like this this assertiveness towards our wounds has been causing like some challenging feelings towards our own self acceptance, but also how we're received in interactions. So I know especially over the past week, there's been a lot of stuff coming up, like in our interactions with other people and how we're being received, how we're being valued, things like that. So the Sun and Virgo aspect, tie that in with the Jupiter retrograde in Aries, which is encouraging this expansion, right? Giving us courage to show up, giving us more drive and heat. And then Mars and Gemini, which we keep talking about. Whole hour went to bed for. I just woke up for an okay. Uh, Connecting these thoughts with that double-edged sword that we've been talking about, where we have definitely this sharpness with our words, giving us this really assertive communication with others, but it's like really tying into how we are wanting to be valued with others with that Sun and Virgo. And then not forgetting about the wonderful Mercury retrograde. Mercury is in Libra, and it's wanting us to strike a balance, trying to help us become more aware of how to do this successfully, as we're communicating our needs and our core values. I'm laughing at my notes because it says Wall Alamo, so who knows what that means.
Wow, Alamo.
Wall Alamo. So yeah, as we're like trying to find this balance in our communication, also trying to look at the other side of the coin, like looking as we speak in these connections, understanding there's going to be some like emotional volition, like it's going to be very emotionally volatile, and it's actually hit a peak during the Pisces full moon. I know there was a lot of around the Pisces full moon, there was a lot of things coming up for people. Pisces being so receptive, so watery, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So just to, I guess, how do you want to do this, my love? I can just go into I did it week by week this time. I was so super profesh this
Oh,
time and just went into the energetic. So you want to do it, is that how your notes are? Do you want to do it week by week? We don't share our notes, so we very much like fly by the seat of our pants here because it's a lot more organic. And authentic that way, so thank you for being here. So you want to do that? I'll go into kind of what the energetics were surrounding it, and then you can hit us with the numerology to kind of drive it home.
gang.
Gang. Well, okay, so the first week of September, which feels, there's also been this overwhelming feeling of like so much shit has happened in such a short amount of time. Like I feel
We
like
had,
the
like,
days
3
are
years
years.
and 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the days are years.
There's
like
been no
it's
chance to catch our breath
absolutely
between one thing to another. It's
right.
just coming
Mm-hmm.
consecutively for like
Yes.
2 or 3 weeks.
Right, yeah, for 2 or 3 weeks. It's been extremely chaotic. And like I said, that whole feeling of things are so slow and not coming to us as quickly as we want, but also internally we're just like, so I mean, it's like, Yeah, it's intense. So the first week of September, we became aware that there was a need for rest and stillness, right? I think we all came into the month feeling a little bit foggy because also August was just super fast on the external world, right? And then we had Uranus go retrograde, whereas, you know, as this change and these drastic happenings after we had that conjunction with Uranus and Taurus, Mars in the North Node, where the external world was just like, "Wah!" We've now gone inward, where we have really been looking how to change things from the inside out. Our internal world is looking for that big change. Yes, love it. So we came in a little foggy and introspective, and we had a Scorpio moon in the beginning of the month. So on the 4th, Venus entered Virgo, and now we had this opportunity to kind of explore the connection between our heart and our minds as we sought to weave new ways of understanding and how to move in our worlds. It really sunk us into this place of like becoming more purposeful and mindful, I think, and intentional in our expression of love for self and in our relationships, while reminding us to be in humble service. So that's why I thought it was really interesting, too, that you were like, you know, I do this because I like to be of service. Like, because very much so when we came into this month, that was highlighted, like, the need to be humbly in service in our relationship, not only with self, but to other people. And then Venus and Virgo, like I said, it gives this more practical and analytical nature and insight to our relational landscapes, allowing us to kind of fine tune the details of them. And yeah, like I said, also a need of not only being in service to others, but to our own needs and being able to speak those, because we'll keep talking about speaking truth being so prevalent, and the Mars and Gemini is really driving that in and how to effectively communicate those things. But the energetics led to a more versatile and thoughtful enhancement of speaking that truth with attentiveness and clarity. And we've become more observant of like our thought patterns because we've been talking about the patternings, the programmings, all these societal structures that we've been trying to break down over the past couple of months, and it's been causing us to become more accountable of our role in our own suffering as well, and how that directly ties in the need to like kind of bust down these walls we create when we are not leading from the heart space and with compassion. And then again, that Mars and Gemini aspect, really being able to connect our mind with others in a more intellectually stimulating way. Venus in Virgo helps us to do so with a more detail-oriented perspective that's really grounding us down in purpose with that. And the Sun in Virgo being able to broadcast this with a more outward expression. And then, um, yeah, so we've really, the Uranus retrograde in Taurus, which we'll talk a little bit about too. So, like, there's this Saturn and Uranus square that has kind of been building, and actually today it's kind of hitting to where it's gaining more strength, where we have like this kind of pull of like wanting to master where we find restrictions, but also wanting to move in a new way. And it's almost like this dance of like, I want things to stay the same, but I want things to move forward.
What
and
you said.
Yeah, which is like super interesting, and a big like kind of undercurrent of the theme this month as we're kind of going through all of these other transits. So like being flexible and nurturing the sense of wonder in the present moment, I think was super important, and like attuning to the sensations in the body through stillness as we're dancing into this new paradigm. And like surface level is kind of deteriorating, and making room for more rooted, authentic interactions was really what the beginning of September was showing us. So you want to go into it because then I'm at the full moon in Pisces.
Okay.
Can you lay it on me,
I
sis,
will.
Sister Sledge?
I'm gonna do it. Okay, so just back up a little bit. We're gonna talk about August for 2 seconds. So August was a 32.5
Right.
universal month. It was. So it was driving home this theme of change. As you know, 5 represents change, and essentially around our partnerships, giving us a new sense of direction in our creativity and our diplomacy.
Yes.
And we saw this in particularly with the Lionsgate, not just on 8/8, not just on 8/7/8/8, but just the entirety of that week and a half portal that we that we have every year. So changes in relationships that were necessary. I personally noticed a lot of people having relationship problems, marital problems, breaking up, filing for divorce, just in my own personal circle.
Yeah.
So if you notice that, it may have been because there was no sustainable growth in those relationships, and we had to move through them, even though it's difficult. So this was an intense month of activation, motivation, and perception. Yes. So like you were saying, talking about, the changing in perception. And then September, which we talked quite a bit about this last month, on last month's vibe check, because it was such just the numerology and the astrology was just like bam, like it was standing out.
Yes.
I also got the message months ago in the records that September was going to be a very pivotal month for the collective, and now we understand why.
We do.
We're seeing all of this. We're here. We're in it. We're real time. So September is a 33-6 universal month. So it's a master number 33, and 33 deals with collective consciousness, Christ consciousness, that elevated need for experiencing life in a new dimension, in a new way, new perceptions, coming together with ideas of how to have everybody's needs met, like what's good for everyone, using our creativity for the benefit of others. So there's a lot of interesting patterns that we mentioned, and I know we're going to laugh when we talk about it, but there was Anna, I wanted to bring up, you were talking about Nikola Tesla, and that came to mind whenever I was writing my notes for September, because we have this 369 pattern.
369 is extremely important, and multiple levels. I mean, that's where you manifest.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. And that was the theme that came up in numerology, was manifestation. And it also deals with frequency. So you were talking about his quote about vibration, and I have done my own digging on that particular quote myself. And he also says, if you can unlock 369, you will understand, you'll have the keys to the universe. And it deals with frequency. And he said it all along. He said it in the quote that you mentioned, so this month is about frequency, because we are seeing these patterns, and it seems like, oh well, that's just a coincidence. No, there's no such thing. This pattern exists for a reason, so that we can focus our attention on these things. And as you said, it deals with manifestation, aligning our frequency with our desire, with just mind, body, and soul.
Just if it since it goes along with what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely.
I would highly recommend going on YouTube, and you can search for 369, 639, and 963. There's binaural beats that you can listen to with those three frequencies, and that's a very highly effective music for meditation for manifestation.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Lots of M's in that sentence.
We'll make sure to throw a couple links in the descriptor.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
So the 369 carries the frequency also of authentication, being authentic, being who we really are, taking off the mask is the theme of 369 in numerology, and it applies to this as well. So embodying who you truly are, not being afraid, as we've said this entire year, not to speak your truth. Make sure that you are speaking from a place of authenticity, that you're living, existing from a place of authenticity. It is beyond empowering. It does help you remember your sovereignty, which was another theme of 2022.
Self-actualization up in this piece.
Exactly. So I also wanted to break down the 3, 6, and 9 from another numerology standpoint. So 3 represents the mind, this is where we get our creativity. We have ideas. It's a very it is a mental number. It's very similar to the number 7. It carries a lot of mental energy. It's a mind that is quick, that's always thinking of the next thing. So
Gemini.
yep, exactly. So numbers of ideas and thought. 6 is the body. It carries, it's the number of nourishment and receptivity. It's a very feminine number, very similar to 2. It's intuition, receiving, because that's how you hone into your intuition, is allowing that energy through the body and the body responding to those things. And then 9 is the soul, our higher self, our inner wisdom, and our light body. So having all of that beautiful trifecta of numbers, giving us an opportunity to sink deeper into the connections of the self, which produces authenticity, right?
Yes.
And allowing them to work together so we can fully step into ourselves, like not being afraid to apply these things, all these things that we're feeling and sensing and learning, and actually doing them, because we can think about it all day long, and we can want to do it all day long, but actually doing it is very freeing and liberating. So yes, and then okay, with the double 3 energy, double 6 energy, and the 9 energy, we're probably going to be this month. We probably have been focusing more on our mental and emotional health. Because we have, like I said, we have that like doubled energy, so it's like more prevalent. You see what I'm saying? Just that does matter in numerology if there are extra numbers. So we've probably been dealing more with that, maybe talking more about our feelings, talking more about where we're at, our emotions. They've been coming to the surface. We're wearing them on our sleeve for sure. There's a theme of self-sacrifice with the 33 energy. Like I said, it deals with Christ consciousness and how we show up for others. So in that emotional space, feeling like I really want to be generous and show this person love, like realizing like we're all hurting, we're all going through something, and we should be kind to one another. We should be kind to one another. But do we always know? There has been, and I was telling Ashli about this, there has been this like lashing out. I've noticed. I mean, it just seems like people are angry.
Yes.
They just walk around defeated, because of all the circumstances that we live in.
It's that retrograde of Chiron and Aries, that Mars and Gemini. Yeah.
Well, and I'll also say that it's karmic patterns that are coming up.
Absolutely.
To see, are we going to do things a new way?
Exactly.
Yes.
And, giving us the opportunity to break out of these karmic cycles so that we can choose the higher
Choose a new way. Exactly.
There's always like, then that's this, and that's this. Because it's always so interesting. That's the Saturn and Aquarius square. It's the breaking through the restrictions in the past way of doing things and entering into a new, innovative pathway.
And there you go. You're welcome.
You're welcome. And then you were talking about doubles as far as the receptivity. I'm like, okay, the Pisces full moon on the 10th. I'm just like, it's so amazing.
Isn't it fun?
And I love that we don't share notes.
And we have wonderful Anna here to back us up in what we're saying.
Right.
But you're absolutely right about the karmic patterns. And that could be the 9 energy that we're in, for sure, because that does deal with our past lives and things coming back around full circle, that culmination energy. Absolutely.
When you first brought that up, I thought you were talking about the 3rd, 6th, and 9th dimension.
Oh, okay.
That's how I view manifestation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I meant by that.
Oh, okay.
That might be a whole nother show.
That would be a whole nother show.
Hey, well, we got a podcast now, so we'll definitely bring you back on to have a
discussion
and you
about
want to talk about the various dimensions.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Let's just go down the rabbit hole.
We will.
We'll be here all day. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. So let's see. Yeah, but that, once again, back to Christ consciousness, that unity consciousness. Like you said, are we going to do things different now? Like, let's come together this time. That has been the theme of 2022, and I feel like maybe that's why the records were saying, September was the month that 2022 was waiting on.
Right.
It's carrying that energy, that vibration of love. And realizing that we're stronger together, united, than we are divided.
Right. Would you say it's also like the culmination of like cutting through those illusions so that we can do so?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you said, those constructs, those patterns, that conditioning, it needs to go.
The lie that we are separate.
Yes.
Because we are not.
No.
Amen. Take us to church. Okay. Do you want me to continue, or
I'm at like the full moon in Pisces, so wherever your point is with that, or if you want to continue to go, and I'll round it out.
I'll just round out this bridge of notes right here.
Bridget.
Okay. So, having a greater opportunity for understanding, listening without judgment was definitely a beautiful gift that this month gave us.
Yes.
But as we were saying, our egos thrive off of division. And with the intensity of that energy, as well as like this juxtaposition of, having this service to others versus self, we may struggle to listen to others, to our inner voice.
Yes.
And weighing on the side of codependency as well.
Which is something we've been talking about, those codependency triggers and patternings that we've been trying to release 100%.
Yes. So the two, all this two energy we have in 2022 can make us very susceptible to codependency, because two, this lower vibrational state, is a very, very overly sacrificial, codependent. The martyr, exactly, that kind of energy. So interdependence, like that theme kept coming up for me. It was coming up for me in my readings. It was coming up for me in my conversations with others. Regular conversations, which do I have regular conversations anymore? I don't think so.
Well, it's like only if we're lucky.
Yeah. Exactly. But striving for balance is something that the sixth energy of September really craves. Recognizing that many people who are living strictly from an egoic space are likely to pull out all the stops to manipulate. So we may have been seeing a lot of people trying to manipulate the truth, trying to maybe gaslight you. I know that word's thrown around a lot. Making you see yourself not in an authentic light, and that's an opportunity for us to say no.
Right. You can't slick the slicker.
That's right. Exactly. And being able to say, I appreciate you, but I know who I am. I don't need you to tell me back.
Right. Yes. That goes back to that self-actualization, that going from the inside out. I'm going to keep doing that just because it's so interesting.
Do it.
Connections.
Do it. Yeah. And then having, this theme of control also keeps popping up. So that's on the lower vibrational side of 6, is this need to control everybody and everything and have people see things in a certain way. But this is like identifying why we need to feel that need to control others, why we need them to see things. It's like, but do you, at the end of the day, do you really know how they do? Like, what they really, truly think? What if they're not being honest with themselves, and so forth? So it's whether, it's the perception of us, or getting them to fulfill something within us that can only be filled by ourselves. So realizing that you can't always worry about it. You can't always worry about what the other people are thinking about you, and just honor who you are and own it.
Yes. I think it's very much too about not seeking that validity from outside, right? Yeah. It's all about self-actualization in the validity of self, like being able to give yourself that validity as opposed to seeking for others.
And one thing that also came up for me was about, it's like, okay, I know who I am in this moment,
Mhm.
like the right now,
Yes.
not worrying about who I'm going to be tomorrow,
Yes.
you know, or who I'm going to be 5 years from now. Who am I right now, and can I honor that?
Yeah, I know something that's been coming up a lot has been like our capacities, right? Like the capacities in which we're able to hold space not only for ourselves and others, and how that's really been fluctuating a lot lately, and really being able to be in that place of saying in our interactions, this is the capacity in which I can interact with you right now, or this is the capacity in which I can be in this relation with you right now, and being okay with that and understanding that that's constantly in an ebb and flow.
We are containers.
Yes.
I had my partner the other day say, I can see in a compassionate way you're not in a capacity to have this conversation. Can you have this later?
Beautiful.
And I was like, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
What a
You showed up,
blessing.
babe.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful when you can do that for yourself and others.
Yes,
Absolutely.
100%.
Go ahead. I'll get to my other stuff later.
So many things that you were saying, like, oh, the Pisces full moon. Okay, so we had the Pisces full moon, and the Pisces is like the mystic, right? It's ruled by Neptune, so like the master illusionist. And I know last month we were talking a lot about how this month is all about illusions being shattered,
Yes.
which there's going to be a lot of that highlighting too later in the month, like this week and into the later of the month. But in traditional astrology, it's also ruled by Jupiter, so the planet of expansion. So the full moon was very poetic and magical, but also very introspective and deeply spiritual. There was this deep reflection in the watery and emotionally receptive placement that helped like shine this light on our awareness of self. Thanks to Virgo being in opposition, as well as where our needs weren't being met. So it asked us to get creative about mindset. It's Pisces is also a sign of release, so it was a really powerful full moon because the full moon signifies a release, a culmination of the lunation where we're releasing. So being that Pisces was also a sign of release, like our and as the external world started to slow down and a lot of planets in retrograde, our internal world was like buzzing. It was just like, I need to release all of this energy coming out. There were a lot of fights on the Pisces full moon as well.
Sure.
The full moon really drove in this ideal that we need to pause and listen to what our internal world is saying, because Pisces rules the 12th house, and this can be known as the house of our own undoing.
Oh my gosh.
So it's about what we have within us that we aren't able to see, that was really being illuminated. You talked a lot about double energies, and I'm like, the two fish. I'm just like, okay. Yeah, so the moon, which is also about this moon was about illusions, so you might have found yourself like getting sucked into illusions of the mind, like your inner dialogue, stories you tell yourself, self-deprecating beliefs, things that keep you limited and looped. Yes.
So that mental health.
That mental health, yeah. So like really, we were called to like really pay attention to and become aware of who we were giving our power to, and like where we need to reclaim that power, and where our energy was kind of leaking in our interactions, and to become very mindful about that.
Right.
It invited us to also nestle in and surrender to the flow, to move with the fish in a sense, right? And the more you resist that, the more you will struggle.
Right.
So like the more you're resisting these pings that were coming to kind of let the emotions flow out, like we've been talking about this month, how it's so much about don't suppress, express. And the more you do that, the easier the energy flows, but the more you're like bottling it up, you're met with all these restrictions. Yes, tell us, please. Chime in.
I had a thing, someone told me the other day that the opposite of depression is not happiness. The opposite of depression is expression.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a friend of mine who came to me and said, I'm depressed. And I said, you need to express yourself.
Yes.
And he's pulled himself out of that point by just,
getting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. Because it's almost like a soda bottle, right? That you shake up really hard, and it's like you want to let it go softly, but you want to let it go, because if not, the top's going to explode off, and then you're not going to be doing it from a healthy place.
Yeah.
Which is some of those feelings of anger that I think have been popping up
lately,
right?
Yes.
By not like healthily expressing those things in a fluid way, you're allowing them to erupt, and it's been this dance between being very reactive as opposed to being responsive. Beautiful.
That's all.
Okay. Just making sure. And then like, so, okay. Should I? Okay. Moving into this week. Can I go into this week?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's important to note moving into this week, especially today, like I was saying, the Saturn and Uranus square, which they're both retrograde, are really, there's been like this undertone that they've been setting this whole month, right? Like we've really been balancing between that restriction and that wanting to move in a new direction. And so Saturn is in Aquarius, so that's highlighting like our groups, our collective energy, which is why we've been having a lot of situations and interactions that have been highlighted. And like I said, that urge to break through restrictions via mastery, while Uranus is in Taurus, which is the revolutionary, promoting the sudden change through practical application. And like I said, it's this dance of holding onto the structure while wanting to move in a new way, and finding a flow in the rational and creative is super key. Like getting creative in how you bring mastery, and finding the footwork to do so in an innovative way. And then on the 14th, a couple days ago, there was the 14th. What day was that? That's the day we did the live, and Instagram was being real ratchet and didn't let us post it. Sorry, Instagram. And it was so good. But so the 14th, the moon was in Taurus. There was a lot of this energy swirling around that was leaving us feeling very raw, especially in the realm of like security and sensitivity being shaken up. It was very emotionally eruptive. Like, I think even as I was at the park recording the live, like 3 couples walked by and were like fighting. And I was just like, as I'm talking to them, like, okay. And because it was also conjunct with Uranus and Taurus, again, driving home, it was very much about grounding. Like, I feel like grounding down and remembering the breath has been so important this month. That's why we have this galbanum. I'm like, bitch, just ground down. But this week has been moving fast emotionally. And with Mars making this strong sextile, which means like this harmonious collaboration to the Chiron in Aries, this assertiveness towards our wounds has been stirring up challenging feelings towards not only our own self-acceptance, but also how we are being received in our interactions. So again, like you were saying, like that need to be like that validity, like wanting to be heard and seen, like listening with the intent of understanding as opposed to just getting your point across. Link that to the Mars and Gemini, right? That's connecting our thoughts with others via this assertive communication. And then we have Mercury retrograde in Libra, so like balancing how we relate to others. The Sun was also in opposition to Neptune. Sun in Virgo, values our ego. Neptune's energetics being in the realm of like compassion, ideals, intuition. Is in Pisces, so like compassion with the emotions and using receptivity on our interactions to kind of gauge like when we should say things and when we should kind of hold our tongue, or when we should express our needs and desires in a more grounded way, as opposed to just flying off the handle with that sword of Aries slicing through everything.
Can I
chime
please
in? Chime in, girlfriend. Do it.
Chime in right now.
Do it.
So you were talking about creative outlets, and that was part of my notes that I didn't share.
Share it, girl.
So this is an excellent month to see creative outlets, be it visual, physical, or auditory.
Yes.
Because we are craving stimulation. This helps us process our emotions. So that emotional body that I was talking about with the double 6 energy, processing it in more conscious way through an unconscious means.
Yes.
And also you were talking about the suppression of the voice.
Yes.
Like, we've been talking about this all year long. You're probably tired of hearing us say
I know, you're like, but it's so potent, it's so relative,
right,
because we're just moving in a different way now.
And another theme was that coming up for September, was about the suppression of the voice.
Yes.
So keeping things close to the chest until that moment of divine timing is revealed. Seeking the guidance of your higher self to listen to that voice so you'll know when to activate your outer voice.
Yes.
Six is a very intuitive number. So we've all been, in this place where we need to trust our intuition more.
Preach.
Right. Exactly. Especially now, I mean, because you're seeing, hey, this is showing you the way. This isn't just for no reason. Ooh, what's going on?
Pause for a minute and just stop the recording, so maybe there was a time delay.
Maybe so.
That's all right, and we're continuing.
And we're back on.
And we're back.
And we're back. That's okay. And so, also, you're talking about couples fighting and stuff.
Oh my God,
people in the world have been lashing out. We were talking, earlier about, people reacting almost violently or reacting from, a more primal place, rather than
Jupiter and Chiron and
that Chiron
Mars energy, in Aries, and you've got the Mars in Gemini, so it's like that Mars warrior energy in this very pretty much vehicle of data that's just it's just anger,
exactly.
bound. It's so funny.
And Chiron is known as the wounded healer.
It is. Yes. It is known as the wounded healer.
So. But they're lashing out because their needs aren't being met, just on every level, not just one thing.
And the Sun in Virgo is shining light on our needs, our value systems.
Right. And 6 is a very peaceful, harmonious seeking number, and the opposite of that is, like I said, manipulation and coldness, and it can also turn into revenge, violence. It can be very retaliating. And when your voice, needs, and desires are not fulfilled, especially by another person, you seek to make them suffer as you suffer.
Right.
So no wonder everybody was fighting. It's like it makes complete and total sense. And we need to understand that lesson is to learn that for this month is seeking fulfillment within ourselves. And when we feel undervalued, this causes uprisings. This causes, because I've noticed, I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I went to the store and people were being exceptionally rude. Most of the time, I go to the store, I'm in and out. I just kind of keep my head down and get what I need to get. But I just noticed people were just being extra
ratchet,
going out of their way to be rude, and I was like, wow. And this one girl, she gave me this dirty look.
Oh, that was me you were talking to.
It was you.
Went to
I went to Kroger, and I was like, and this girl, she gave me this dirty look, mean mugging me, and I just smiled at her, and I was just like, I know, I understand. Let me tell you about the numerology for a minute.
That's why it's so helpful. Go ahead, baby.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I was so bless her heart.
Yeah, I know. I felt for her. I could feel her energy.
Yes.
She was pissed about something, and I was like, she probably got in a fight with her significant other, and then she came to the store, and they were out of half the stuff. I mean, where do we get relief from? You
ain't getting it. No,
you ain't getting it.
It's gonna use up just a little bit.
Yeah. I did want to point out one nice thing, though, about a 6 month is this is a great month to get your home in order. So 6 is about hearth and home, and it's a very nourishing number. Yes, it is. It's about those creature comforts, and so this is a month, a really good month. I mean, just from a year standpoint and from a month standpoint. This is a great month to do repairs, renovate, invest in property, furnishing your home, move in altogether, especially if you're having a 6 personal month or year. And this is also a great month to garden. So maybe start a fall garden.
Starting that fall garden.
Oh, yes.
Harvesting.
Yes. So because
wasn't it a harvest moon too?
And 6 represents harvest as well.
Hey.
Fall garden.
like broccoli,
Yeah.
Broccoli.
Kale.
kale,
Mhm.
dark leafy greens are
Mhm.
really good during
You
the
can-
fall.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Gourds,
Gourds.
squashes.
Don't you have to
Squishes.
start that mid?
Well, you.
I'm just like, I don't want anybody to be disappointed.
Yeah,
if they're
well,
like,
no,
I'm
if
going to
they're
Home
starter
Depot to
plants.
start a small garden.
Well, no, I mean, it's good to plant now. You
Yeah,
know,
okay.
August, September.
It's
For
gonna be
next
hot and
year.
humid right now, so
Bulbs
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah, you know what I mean.
Bulbs.
Exactly.
Bulbs.
Well, you know,
Thank
here
you for
we
that,
are.
Anna. She's
I'm
like,
just-
we don't want any false advertising here. So how about these vibes?
How about-
appreciate it.
How about
She's
that?
also our business and marketing coordinator, so she just has our best interest.
She's just looking out for us.
Yeah.
Master, if you guys need anybody.
And truly, I was like, maybe I should
Yeah,
start a
maybe.
fall garden.
Look
should
at
I
your
do?
farmer's almanac.
Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful. Man, I really
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So like the 16th to the 18th, because you were saying so many things, and I was like, oh, it just makes my nipples hard. So the sun in opposition to Neptune, right? Has kind of been bringing up like a reprise, like you said, the anger and like the things coming up of like the Pisces energetics that were happening, highlighting that receptivity and understanding surrounding our values, like in our relationships, calling us to be more mindful and self-aware through accountability to get our point across in a healthy and productive way. We also have the sun trine with Pluto over the next couple of days. Pluto is in Capricorn right now. So we're able to transform obstacles or like our perceived obstacles with more authority over our personal power. And if we handle this energy wisely, it'll shine light on where we desire renewal and healing within ourselves and the outside world. So almost like navigating that internal garden and the external garden. So Mercury is opposing Jupiter. So everybody's going to have, Jupiter's in Aries as well, so everybody's going to have a desire to say things that are on their mind. So we're really going to be called to remember to stay in control of the thoughts and how they are expressed. This will be helpful because remember this week we still have Mars creating this sextile with Chiron, that wounded healer. So these wounds will still be present, but the energetics are really kind of going to allow this week a container for healing, like a container to really be heard and seen. If we can work with others effectively and own our own energetic thought fields, like that self actualization, like that self authority, like really being able to control your own thought patterns and stuff and to speak through that as opposed to just reacting to everything that's said to you is going to be so helpful the rest of this week. Really taking self accountability is going to nurture your relationships right now because it's so easy when we're coming from these woundings, it's so easy to speak from a place of our wounds. Right? So it's about recognizing what our wounds are and understanding that to move past them, we have to also be coming from a place of listening with the intent of understanding. Like that's so prevalent without just talking at each other and trying to get our point across. You can do a lot of seeds now, carrots and the leafy greens. Thanks,
Thank
Talia,
you.
coming in clutch.
Okay, we really
Heard
needed
you.
that.
Gang, gang,
Appreciate
gang, gang.
that. You know, one thing that just came to mind when you were talking about that is also active listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? Repeating back to
Yes.
the person, what did I hear you just say? Or
Mhm.
here's what I thought I heard you say. Is that right? Such a small implementable step.
Yes.
Right. For such great
Yes.
returns on investment.
And I love you said that about the small steps
Yeah.
because this month, as everything's slowing down and as it feels like things aren't coming to us quickly, it's really about making those small steps this month and understanding that that's going to promote big growth.
Yeah.
In the later. That's, yeah.
Totally.
You're with it. You're tuned in. Tapped in. Turned on. So,
Dang,
yeah,
dang.
the rest of this, the rest of the, king. Yeah, the rest of this week, there's like this energy of solutions, right? Where both parties and interactions, like I said, can be seen and heard as long as this understanding and also vulnerability, I feel like, is really important. Like being able to be vulnerable allows the other to feel like they can hold that capacity to be vulnerable for you. Like being able to see the beauty in the chaos, like in coming out of the ideal that things need to be perfect to be okay.
Right.
because it's never going to be perfect.
Well, and authenticity isn't
Yeah.
perfect,
No.
you know. I mean, it's perfect in its imperfection.
Absolutely.
And coming from an authentic place can make you feel very
Hells
vulnerable.
yeah, it can, you know, and yeah, I really feel like this week has been about like stepping back and looking like where you're feeling stressed out and look at what you can manage and what you cannot. And like, I just want to reference like this week too with the strikes happening and stuff like that. So you've got Mars and Gemini energy that's square with the Venus and Virgo, which is like medical. Virgo, you know, holds like the medical, the health, whereas in Gemini is like this transportation vehicle of information, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
yeah, so like we've really been looking at people are waking up, these illusions are being shattered around like what's working, what's not working, where are we asking too much of people, where are people being undervalued,
Yeah.
you know, and that's why all these
And
issues.
why are they pissed?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why like these issues have been coming to light about what has been fair. As we have Libra coming into play, and not just that, like what needs to change. So I think that's super interesting how that all.
And there's that 6 energy wanting to work things out and make peace. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so
all up in it.
All up in it, right? I'm gonna go into next week.
Okay.
What are you doing? Or do you have something for
I
this
have
week?
I have some information for October and a couple of messages from the record.
Okay, well I'm just gonna keep going then chime in,
I'm gonna
please.
lovingly step away for a moment.
Okay.
Lovingly
step away.
Lovingly and respectfully.
And she's out. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, careful. All right. Okay. Love those pants, by the way.
Yeah,
Those
those are
saucy.
fabulous.
So next week, in the beginning of the week, Venus is going to create. Like, excuse me, guys. I don't want to turn my back to you, but I want to look at my bish. No.
No.
Venus is creating this trine with Neptune, where a mystical glow will penetrate the heart space, allowing for this deepness to kind of be embraced. I think September we really, like I said, it's this frayed energetic wire where we've been very reactive but also very responsive. We've been doing this tango almost of like pulling in and pulling out. So the beginning of this week, there will be deep dives into the heart space and more open playing ground for forgiveness and understanding. Like we're going to be more able to hold that space and that container for others, right? Venus trine, right? So like Venus is also going to trine Uranus, which is going to allow us to let go of rigid positions. Again, fostering forgiveness, being able to see the sacred in the chaos. We'll feel more receptive, more able to express the emotions as the moon moves out of Cancer and into Leo. And it's like something you may have felt was broken inside of you is going to be healed.
Fix it.
Yeah. And then we have the fall equinox on the 22nd.
Yes.
And I'm curious about the numerology on that. And the sun will be entering Libra. So there's this sense of balance that's being restored on the 22nd, right?
Thank goodness.
Yes.
And I believe, I feel like the 22nd, I feel like last month we talked about some key dates this month.
And it was the 22nd was one of them.
Yeah, for some reason. So, yeah.
Figure it out while I'm talking. So get your pen. Beautiful minded over there. Because, the energetics this month very much are in this flow of conflicting ideas, not only within ourselves, but in our interactions, right? And with how we feel, live, think, that's more coming through this softening and this restricting. Like there's been this dance with that. And towards the end of the month, we're going to have this really empowered moment of like emboldened communication and taking a stand and recognizing if we can navigate it properly, looking at this tension on a fundamental level in relation to ideas or plans with other people, there's an opportunity again for that compassion to understand with the intent of growth. And that's that undercurrent of Saturn and Uranus. That's going to be moving into the month of October, and it's going to play a big part. So again, there's going to be this dance that's happening. I wrote a lot of notes for like being so worried about my notes. So let me like look at where I can, because there's just so much stuff happening.
Do I have enough notes?
I know. Do I have enough notes? I'm an over planner.
That's that
so
4.
I'm looking. That's that 4, right? Yeah, and there's just so much going. But I think because the internal landscape, there's been so much going on. as everything's slowing down around us, it's created a vessel to kind of really break down all of these things internally a little too much.
Right.
Yeah. So what are we doing? Let me fast forward. I'm gonna skip some things. But the 25th, notably, we have the Libra new moon. Also curious about the energy. So you have some numbers for the 22nd really quick?
I have the 22nd. So the 22nd is going to be a 10-1 universal day. So you were saying things are going to rebalance. It's almost like a starting over. So like ending one cycle and beginning another one in a different space.
Yes. Yes. And then you have the numbers on the new moon. I'll go into that really quick.
Yeah,
so
go into that really quick.
The 25th, we have the Libra new moon. And we're really going to, again, be able to reestablish this balance that's been lost. The new moon is going to say, when I broaden the horizons of my relationships, I welcome more truth to exist. We'll start to feel this sense of neutrality and cooperation where there's been static, which is super helpful. It's going to help us kind of be able to better compromise our own needs and desires with those of others, because Libra's all about balance, peace, harmony, right? And the same day, there's this strong aspect where Venus is creating a you looked at me, it's creating a trine with Pluto. So there's going to be this really transformative energy because Pluto is very transformative, right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's going to be we're going to have this deepness, this deep transformation that's going to become available. And the Libra new moon is bringing like a really creative and fresh energy to a very like chaotic month. Yeah. Where we're going to be given the ability to again take those emotions from the emotion based watery bullshit that's been going on and our desires to figure out what we do really love, what we do really like. There's like a strong sense of discernment that's going to be happening, like really being able to identify both sides of the scales, so to speak. Give me the numbers.
Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, keep going because I'm going to the 26th. Okay. So the sun is going to also be opposing Jupiter on the 26th and 6th, and this is a really potent energy for growth and change. It's going to emphasize this energy from the new moon. As you know, like with the lunations, we're typically in that cycle for about 2 to 3 days. So, and at the same time, we have that strong square with Saturn and Uranus again, just throwing its ass. And there may be conflict. There may be conflict, but we're going to be able to hold space. What did I write? My notes are so funny. Anyways, it's a dance. On the 27th, we have Mercury holding the trine to Pluto, so we're able to think things through. So, like, we have been strategizing, trying to bring a lot of things into life, where it's kind of felt very slow. There's going to be a little speed that picks up. Again, it makes me think about all the strikes and the policy changes that have been occurring, that there's been this light shed on them. It's going to be, like, really deep, powerful, transformative energy with a lot of stimulating conversations surrounding that, and like a lot of duality. Mars is doing this trine with Saturn, so it's like this hot and cold. It's going to be like the gas and the brake almost, and there's going to be like an opportunity to go at the right rate. Like we can really reorganize things foundationally and fundamentally. We'll be able to make things happen. Like there will be this idea and this feeling of being able to make things happen, but not without conflict, because as we can see from this month so far, it's been like this mode of progress that's been dancing with the mode of like slow down, invite in stillness, like baby steps, getting to the main thing. So I don't think that we're going to have a resolution to all of the stuff going on, but definitely, yeah, things being highlighted. Give me the numbers.
Absolutely.
I'm talking too much.
It's okay. It's okay.
So much stuff.
So for the new moon, the 25th, that's going to be a 40/4 universal day. So bringing in equality, fairness, bringing in some structure, some rebalancing energy. That's something that 4 and 6 have in common is they like to rebalance any kind of lopsided energy, any kind of, let's have negotiations. Let's have a talk. Let's work things out and view it from a lens of practicality. However, we've got that 0 energy with the 40, and 0 is the God number.
Yeah.
So it may be like
The void.
the void, yeah. But it may be that some pretty divine, powerful divine intervention is at play in order to make those things happen.
Yeah.
It may not be something that we can do all on our own.
No, it's not. Yeah, there's a lot of depth to this month.
Sure
That's
is.
also coupled like with confusion. But it's definitely creating this framework like we were talking about the other day. We are creating a framework for the rest of the year going into 2023.
Yes.
Where, you know, as we had all of that activation energy with Uranus and the North Node and Mars in August, now we're kind of like analyzing, perfecting, detail orienting, and then we're just again creating that framework moving forward.
And in numerology, you know, around in numerology, so the closer you get towards the end of the year, the more the upcoming year has an influence on the year that we're currently in. So you start to see bits and pieces and specks of things that we will be working on and dealing with in the coming year.
It's like breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Essentially, it's like a trail of breadcrumbs.
Because there's no definitive line. Just because we morph from 2022 to 2023, that doesn't mean like, oh, there's this line and now everything's different. You know, it all kind of melds together. Yeah, it absolutely does. So should I talk about October for a minute?
Yeah, you can. I don't have as many notes. I do have like some of the major transits down that I'll kind of just go over and briefly discuss.
I was just going to touch on October.
Of it.
So next month is going to be, so we're going to kind of be going backwards on the numbers again, that's fairly typical. We're going to have a 25-7 universal month, and 7, you know, we were talking about negotiations and talks and fairness and having those powerful discussions.
Yes.
That is going to be the theme.
Tell me more.
So I'm going to tell you more.
Tell me more.
So I feel like, you know, like you were saying about, you know, the railroads and things like that. I feel like there's still going to be conversations going on.
100.
However, 7 is also the number of justice. So holding space that justice will be served. For
you've been served.
Yeah. Look out. Here's your papers.
Really quick, just highlighting that point. Yeah. Mercury stations direct on the 2nd, and then Mercury enters Libra on the 10th. So, anyways.
Wow.
Wow.
There you go. Period.
And Pluto stations direct on the 8th in Capricorn. So I'm just saying. Anyways, continue.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have anything else?
Yes. Okay. So, September. So September, where we're at now, is trying to prepare us emotionally mentally and emotionally for the following month, because we may have to navigate truths that we are not ready for.
As in November. Is that what you mean? Or in October?
In October.
Okay, gotcha. There's a lot
and probably November.
Yeah, there's a lot of Scorpio energy, like planets entering Scorpio as well.
Yes.
In October.
Deep, hidden secrets.
Secrets.
I don't know. What are we saying? So but prepare to learn a lot about the world around you. So 7 is the number of knowledge, learning, understanding, higher learning, higher education, really valuing those things. And intuitively, when I was writing my notes for this, I got the message that October will be about new formulas. Don't ask me. I don't know. And about negotiation. So I feel like those talks are going to continue, like I said. And it's not just on a collective level. It is going to be on a personal level. Like, hey, let's sit down and hash these things out. Yep. You know, you're probably going to be having some uncomfortable talks, but they're going to be totally necessary.
Yeah. Some deep, murky talks.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? So I'm seeing a heavy emphasis on new truth. As we have moved through this year of, you know, honing in on relationships, we may have new perspectives on how we view others that perhaps are brought on by the realizations that we've had this year. So maybe like, you know, maybe they weren't operating out of a healthy place when all this
We're
happened.
really going to be investigating those things.
Investigation. So you may not see things the same way when you're on the other side of October. It's all part of the
I'm
process.
like, what's going on in December?
I know, right?
Yeah, because we have Venus entering Scorpio, so that what we love, how we love, that investigator is really going to be digging in and figuring that out from a very like subterranean depth kind of place.
And can I say something real
Please
quick?
say it, girl.
And I'm nerding out. Okay, in human design, 1 is known as the investigator.
Yeah.
And it's in 10. Okay, I went there.
So funny.
10 is 1 plus 0 is 1 investigator. Yeah?
And then,
No? Yes?
yes.
Anna's giving us thumbs up.
Yeah, and then
We're
the sun
good.
enters Scorpio, so like this illumination on that there's a lot of investigative energy. Jupiter enters Pisces. Jupiter is retrograde, so that expansion within the self, being very receptive about that and how you translate that into your outside world.
Very cool.
Mercury enters Scorpio. Mars stations retrograde. Mars in Gemini. Holy shit. There's so much going on.
What have we
I
gotten
feel like it's
ourselves
just
into?
continuously. There's so much stuff going on.
There's so much.
Oh my gosh. Last month it feels like outside world, so much was going on. This month is like that internal landscape has really been shaken to its core, and like we've been diving in October. We're going to really dig into bridging that gap between the outside and the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So lit.
Out the circus.
Right? So lit. Oh my god.
And off camera being
I know,
supportive.
Anna's just like,
Anna's mood came right into
yep.
But the rest of my notes for October just say you're being encouraged to adopt healthier modes of navigation and investigation. We'll be using the skills we've acquired to improve our professional and personal relationships this month.
It's going to be about balance and quality in our relationships,
You may feel the desire to hermit yourself a little bit if you're more on the introverted side and going into research mode, like we were saying.
Scorpio energy happening.
Exactly. And if you're more sociable, you're more extroverted, you might want to maybe join a book club or visit a poetry night at a local coffee shop is what I wrote
Hey, we're
down.
trying to do that too. Anna and I just recently joined a book club, but that's what I was telling you about. That Becca needs to join too.
I need
shout
to join.
Out to Jaw. The name is escaping me in the moment.
House of Sophia.
House of Sophia. Yeah, well, we're gonna be doing that. That's so great. We're so in tune.
And there we go.
Just a couple like herbal correspondences though for the rest of the month of September. So grounding things, like a lot of root things I feel like are very important right now, like sandalwood, juniper, cedar, burdock, which strengthens the liver. So Gemini, Aquarius, and Aries are ruled by the liver.
Yes.
You know, so all that energy is really prevalent. Like in magic, it's, hey y'all, what's up, Sonya? Okay. And then, again, nervous system regulation, which, I mean, that's just, I think...
Well, with all this anger and hostility.
Yeah, I think it's so important. So, like, lemon balm and tulsi are, like, 2 of my favorite go-tos for that, along with ashwagandha.
I love ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha. Which should be in your daily regimen. Like, maca and ashwagandha are my daily regimen. Now, I will say, like, certain things like... hypothyroidism, you don't want to use maca. If you have questions about that, of whether or not you should, like, let me know. Passion flower is going to be super helpful to help with cyclic thoughts. Like, passion flower not only invokes, like, passion itself, but it helps with, like, overactive cyclic thoughts, so, like, those negative thought loops, patterning and stuff. Super helpful for that. Angelica helps with our digestion, so I tie that to the emotional body. It's also good for harmony, as we have Libra coming into play. Balances the hormones. Licorice root, the seasonal changes that are occurring. Licorice is just great. It soothes the digestion, stabilizes the blood sugar. Kava kava, another root, treats stress and anxiety, elevates the mood, helps with all this overwhelming energy that's been going on. And then mullein, which is a great respiratory herb. It hydrates the lungs. So as like the breath is becoming so prevalent to like tune into our body and ground down, that's a great herbal ally to work with. Do you have any tarot correspondences?
I
for
do not.
September? You want to pull? Come on, girl.
You know what? I'm just gonna
Get her done real
Here's what I'm
quick.
gonna do. I'm gonna just pull a card for the collective.
Let's do it.
For the month of September.
I will say,
Tell us.
as far as vibrational anchors, the 432 hertz is very grounding and important. 432 hertz is the same frequency of the earth. Additionally, 341.3 hertz is the hertz frequency for the energetic heart chakra. So 432 plus 341.3, I would, if you're feeling like ungrounded, those are two really important frequencies to lean into
Love
for the
that.
month.
Make sure to put that in. Wonderful addition you've made.
I'm really grateful to be here. I'm sorry I stepped away.
No.
No disrespect.
No disrespect
you're
taken.
fine. Okay, so I pulled the moon. You want to move that in a little bit closer?
The moon.
The moon.
All that
is out
receptivity.
tonight.
We've been seeing the emotional
Exactly.
body that has been shaken up. So I think that's how we can
Yes.
identify that
And that's on
correlation.
that.
Period.
Yes.
All right.
But also,
For the month of October.
Oh,
Justice.
my
To
Justice.
the tower.
don't, no.
Just keep
I
Yeah.
love the tower, though.
We're just gonna skip it. No.
The tower
It
is that
sounds
Uranus energy,
Yes, it
that
is.
change, that shaking up the
Sometimes
foundation.
you
Saturn
gotta
and Uranus,
shake
yes.
stuff up. That's for sure.
Shaking it up.
It sounds like September is an alchemist's playground.
I've
It sure
literally been
is.
pulling the Alchemist card almost in every one of my oracle readings for myself this month.
Yeah.
Which I'm an alchemist anyways. But I'm just saying, it's funny you said that because it definitely is a month of transmutation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we can look at it two ways, like, the tower card, everything's falling apart,
Yes.
and going to heck, where we can say, look at what we're building that's new and different and amazing.
This is Jennifer Ledbetter, who actually is the owner of A New Day Studio. We would just like we would just like to sing your praises really quick, Jennifer, for yes. You just want to show your beautiful face really quick and say hello.
The wonderful Jennifer Ledbetter, everyone.
Thank you.
A New Day Studio. Yes.
She's a powerful Reiki healer, Reiki master, and teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Well, just retrieving the phone.
Yeah.
Going.
Yes.
Caught her off guard a little bit. It's all right.
People need to know about her.
You need to know. She's amazing. Yeah, so September, guys. The rest of the month, I think the biggest takeaway is like grounding, remembering to be receptive and understanding in your interactions, listening with the intent of understanding, and not necessarily just getting your point across, doing the self-work. Like really doing the self-reflection and actualization so that way you can be a better mirror in your relationships. And taking ownership of your shit to promote that authenticity.
There you go.
Because we done with surface level interactions. We ain't got time for that no more.
No, and that's another reason we've had so many relationships falling away.
It's necessary.
I know. I feel like it's okay to say that pretty much everybody has probably been experiencing this on some level, and it's because
I've been calling it in.
Yeah.
Lord, take away anything that does not evolve me to my highest spiritual good.
Absolutely.
Anyone, anything, any idea, strip it all away.
Yes.
So that I'm just evolving and vibrating higher.
Absolutely. Because
it takes a lot of courage to do that too.
Does.
Because we get in our comfort zones. You
got to get very comfortable in the uncomfortable. Is vital right now.
What you said.
What you said. Gang gang.
Yes. Gang gang. I did have a couple of just really quick little messages from the records that I wanted to share about. So, one thing that I thought was, interesting, which I'm not surprised, is there was a message of a change in leadership and the illusion of power. So, and as you know,
we have the elections coming up, yeah?
Yes, and Queen Elizabeth II passed. Queen.
Russia and China
And Russia.
just linked
Yep.
up.
Yep.
Mm,
There's a lot.
There's a lot of shit happening. We talked
A
about
lot
that
of moving
last month
pieces.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Girl be psychic. She be so psychic.
Shoo.
No, Freckles.
I just read it, you know. And then there's also, and I thought this was really beautiful. There's always a lot of symbolism for me, and one of those was a ginkgo tree. If you're not familiar with ginkgo trees, they have these beautiful leaves. Okay. They have these beautiful leaves that look like fans, you know, and then they, in the fall, or when the leaves die, they turn yellow and they fall. And it's really beautiful. And so I was shown that as a means of getting comfortable with all of this change that's happening. Like, because ginkgo trees represent birth, life, death, and rebirth. And we're in a period with Gaia, Mother Gaia, we're in her rebirthing period right now. And a phrase that came through was the crux of her quickening. So we are identifying where she's at in her cycle. So if you don't know what a quickening is, for all you folks out there, a quickening is when you feel the flutters in your belly for the first time. So she's like, here's the flutters. This is where we're at, and we're all feeling that.
Love it.
That look.
I've been using ginkgo in almost every one of my formulations for the past couple of weeks.
Oh my
So
gosh.
you said that, and I was like, okay.
See how it all links up.
Yeah.
Yes. And big call to light workers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid. It's because it's your time. It's your time to step up.
It is.
Don't be afraid. Do what you need to do.
Get information.
Get information, exactly.
Gather in the troops.
Seriously.
All right. No, truth. The power of Christ compels you. Anyways.
You're having way too much fun in that
Yo,
chair.
this
today.
chair's so lit.
Give her a
Look
little
at me.
height that goes to her head.
It's like over here. All right.
I love it so much.
Okay.
This is such a great episode.
This was a great episode, and it's now 5:13. So we
we
are
have to
going
go.
to go now. But yeah, thank you for joining, Anna.
Yes, thank
truly,
you.
The Memphis Sound Healer. We are going to put all of her information in everywhere that we post this. If you were interested in a sound healing, we'll put how you can get a hold of her. It is really just a beautiful, transformative experience. Again, if you need any other type of medicine, energy healing, activation, there's a lot of services between the three of us that we
Yes.
offer.
There's not much we can't do.
That's
really,
right.
there's
We're gonna
not.
take over the
So
world.
yeah, we'll make sure. Pinky and
Pinky in the brain.
brain.
We were
All
talking
right,
about Pinky in the brain the other day. I think we just aged
we just
ourselves
aged
a little.
It's all right. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank
This
you,
was a great,
everyone.
yeah, we'll get everything posted. What a beautiful,
Yes, be
beautiful
blessed.
time. Be blessed and take care.
Oh.